Today is May 3rd, 2024. Welcome back to my channel, Turning Into Stories. Today I'm going to take those seedlings that I started from seeds in my seed trays. I'm going to transplant them into bigger containers, and I'm using cheap plastic cups. And I'll show you that method that I use. Transplant my tomatoes, my peppers, my cucumbers and pumpkins, and a few of my herbs. I'm going to do that today, and then in about 20 days they'll be ready to go into the garden. Thank you for tuning in, and hope you enjoy the video. So first thing I'm going to do is, like I said, I'm going to use these standard plastic cups. Don't really care for the color red, but that's what I have. I'd rather plant in yellow, or green of course is the best. But and I've got me a soldering iron here. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple holes, melt a couple holes in the bottom of each of these cups. And I've got a lot to do, so I won't show you everything, but I'll kind of show you how I do it. Just a couple holes. I'll turn those. That of course is for drainage. You can use a pencil and put a hole through here if you want. I just like to melt a hole through because it keeps, these cups from kind of splitting sometimes, especially the cheaper ones. This is drainage for the plants, and you're probably wondering, well, what are they going to drain into? Well, you have two options. You can drain them into the tray and keep water in the tray, or you can double cup the plant. So I plant the plant in this one here, and then I would put it in that one. That way, water doesn't leak out. But you do have to have your soil drain. If you just put them in containers that don't drain, then your tomatoes will, they'll just get too much water and they won't do as well. Same with your soil. You want soil that those roots can drain into. If those roots are sitting in water constantly, it's not going to do well. I've did probably 30-40 cups with the holes in them, like this. So those are melted in with the soldering iron, and now I'm getting ready to transplant my tomatoes into them. I've got my soil, and really what I use here is just, this is Miracle-Gro potting soil. Why are you using potting soil? Don't these plants belong in the garden? Well, the great thing about potting soil is it's really nutrient rich, and it's already got fertilizer in it. So as I transplant them, they're going to get a boost of fertilizer, and it's going to really shoot them up over the next 3 weeks before they go into the garden, at which time I will give them another boost of fertilizer. But then you start out with just about that much soil in the bottom of your cup, depending on how tall your plants are. Now, today I'm going to get my hands dirty. If I was a lady gardener, I would probably have gloves on as I work with this soil and these plants, but I'm not a lady gardener, so I don't mind getting my hands dirty. Not that, and maybe lady gardeners don't either, but okay, I'll just scoop these plants out like this, and I will carefully separate them to two root bases there, right? Put one in here. I will add potting soil around it. Now, does it matter if I get a little dirt on that plant? No, doesn't matter. There's one. This next plant's a little taller. And look at that good root base. I don't know if you can see that, but look at all the roots this tomato plant already has on it. And it's going to continue to put more roots out. And those roots are going to fill this cup. And it's going to grow roots along the stem. Now you notice I'm planting these tomatoes all the way up to the bottom of their leaves. And there's a reason for that, because the tomato stem, once it's in the soil, will put roots out. And the more root growth I can get on these plants before I transplant them into my garden, the better off they are. So I'll do another one here. Now, you got to remember what kind of tomatoes you're planting here. These are beefsteak tomatoes that I'm planting right now. And I've still... And I will lose some soil here as I do this. But notice, I will use some of that soil to put back in here too. So nothing will go to waste here. It does get a little messy. Do this outside or a place that you don't mind a little dirt that you can vacuum up. And I want to get that one. And I'll pack the soil down around it. I think there's ghosts in this house. I'll do one more here. Yeah, I'm amazed at the amount of roots that these tomatoes already have on them. Good, healthy tomato plants. Like I said, it'll compact that soil. It'll compact a little bit. Okay, so that's what I'm doing right now. And of course I will water these and put them under sun lamp, under my grow lights, and we'll continue to watch them grow. I'm going to go ahead and keep doing this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to write on these plastic cups. And on this one I'm just going to write the variety. Like this. Not a very good writer. Let's do this again. Beef, steak, yeah, beefsteak tomatoes. And then the one, I will have one that I have, you know, I won't write on the cup that has this in it, because this tells me that it's where I got the tomato from and that it's an indeterminate. And I probably need to write that on all of these too. I'll go ahead and put that it's an indeterminate and an H, because I got these from Homes Seeds. Okay, so let's continue to plant. Oh yeah, got my cherries here, cherry tomatoes. Sometimes these roots are really intertwined, so you want to be real careful how you pull them apart, because you want to keep as much of the root as you can. These Sun Gold cherry tomatoes are our favorite. That's all we plant anymore. They're kind of a yellowish. They do kind of turn red, but they're more of a yellowish golden tomato. And man, nice big healthy plants, tons of cherry tomatoes, and they are delicious. I have a grandson that loves to just come in and go into the garden and pick these cherry tomatoes and just eat them. He loves them. All right, so I'm going to continue to transplant all my tomatoes, and then I'll catch up with you in a little while. Okay, so I have all my tomato plants transplanted. They're in these trays, so when water drains out the holes in the bottom, it'll just go into the tray. And that's a good indicator of how I can keep water in the bottom of these trays and help keep these tomato plants wet. Tomato plants need water, lots of water. There's my grow lights. Once again, AgroBright. These are fluorescent grow lights. Had them for several years. And lots of tomatoes. Now, will I eat all those tomatoes? Will those go into my garden? No. Just me and my wife here. We can tomatoes. She cans tomatoes. Some of those will go to neighbors and friends for their gardens, so they don't have to go out and buy them. We'll keep an eye on these and see how they do in the, like I'm saying, probably 3 weeks. These will be transplanted into the garden. They'll either need walls of water, because we'll still get a frost later on, but it'll be warm enough, the soil will be warm enough, the days and nights, most nights will be warm enough for these tomatoes. Welcome back. I've got all my tomatoes transplanted. Now I'm going to transplant my pumpkins, a couple of my slicing cucumbers, and they're getting pretty big already, and some of my herbs. So once again, I'm going to use the same red cups that I've used my tomatoes. These pumpkins are from Johnny's. They're called Champions. Had really good luck in our climate with them. Like I said, we have less than, well, if we get 90 days of frost-free weather, we're fortunate. So that's why a lot of things have to be started indoors. Just by doing these, this is going to give these plants just a shot. I mean, they will not really be shocked by this transplant like they may be when you move them outside, but they will be, they'll love it. They'll just start growing. This year I did some lemon cucumbers. So I'm going to go ahead and plant my lemon cucumbers, transplant them, my slicing cucumbers. Those will go into a hoop house. And I only do one plant of each. And then I'll come back and I'll show you what I'm going to do with my herbs. Stay tuned. My cucumbers are transplanted. Now I'm going to transplant some of my herbs. And these, depending on whether you're going to have an herb garden in a windowsill or wherever, but I'm still going to separate these. Instead of one of these, this is basil. I'm going to actually put 2 basil in one of these. Basil is one of those plants that likes growing together. So see how I just have separated that. Basil, and then we'll just plant those 2 in here. This will allow the roots to extend, get bigger, and then those will get planted together into my herb garden a little later. So the nice thing about transplanting them into a bigger container, now if you were to buy some things from a greenhouse, they're all in these squares, and that, they've been fertilizing the heck out of them and getting them where they wanted. But the nice thing about this is they will develop nice long roots, which will really benefit them when you transplant them into your garden. Whereas if they just come out of these square and they've been in there long enough, they're going to be really root bound. So this takes a little more time, but this is by far a better option. Funny story. I live in a very conservative area, which I'm glad I live in a very conservative area. But however, I have these grow lights on, right? And I get kidded all the time about what I'm growing under them. Of course, marijuana is legal in Colorado, but you know, I don't partake of the brain softening leaf marijuana. I do think it has long-term effects on the brain, which is my opinion, but that's mine. And the rest of my herbs I'll go ahead and do. They're still under the grow lights right now, but I'll do them the same way. I'll plant them in pairs. And then after I get everything transplanted, and we'll water them and wait a few weeks and see how they do. Thanks for tuning into my channel, Turning Into Stories. This is the life of me in retirement, and I appreciate you watching. Subscribe, like, hit the notification bell, and continue to follow all my activities. I like to garden. I'm an outdoors person. All these things that I'll be doing on my channel weekly. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, keep calm and carry on.